Top of the morning from the newsroom of Regional Radio and DeWittDailyNews.com. I'm Seth Lawrence with this expanded local newscast. We stream to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton. And News Today, brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters. Here's what we have coming up for you in news on this Wednesday. It's FFA week, and our coverage of interviewing FFA chapters continues as we hear from the Maroa-Forsyth and Lincoln FFA chapters in News Today. Warrensburg-Latham school leaders are discussing their recent multi-agency reunification drill and what they took away from that process, and a Central Illinois lawmaker is predicting what Governor J.B. Pritzker may have to offer today in his State of the State and Budget address. And later in sports this morning, Clinton girls end their season, unfortunately, at the Bloomington Central Catholic Regional as BCC knocked off Monticello last night in regional semifinal play. In boys basketball action, final week of the regular season, Monticello, Blue Ridge, Argenta-Oreana, and Maroa-Forsyth, all winners on the hardwood last night. Those stories come up in sports on this Wednesday. Maroa-Forsyth is celebrating FFA Week by reaching all its district's students. On the WHOW Afternoon Farm Show Tuesday, Maroa-Forsyth FFA chapter president Taylor Crouch told Regional Radio they've been working hard to make an impact in all areas of the school.
Yeah, so we've been planning a lot over the past month and a half. It's not easy to plan out FFA week. We have to reach a lot of different parts of the school and everything. So we are doing something each day. We started off on Sunday. We had a member event. And ever since then, it's just kicked off. We did something yesterday with the officer team. And we also today are looking forward to meeting with the 8th graders and on into the week. 8th grade day, which Emery can touch on a little bit more, we're doing today. Mm-hmm. And then Wednesday, we make breakfast for lunch for the teachers every year, just to show them that the FFA is there for them. And so we provide lunch for them. It's a whole lunch. We do pancakes, waffles, sausage, whole bunch of stuff. And they always love that every year. And then let's see, Thursday, we are again at the middle school with an activity from the FFA. And we also are giving coloring sheets to the grade school to enter into a coloring contest for each class. And then Friday is our Farm to Fairways, and that's our big alumni event that we're really excited for.
Chapter reporter Emery Bunselmeyer explains they visit with the Maroa-Forsyth 8th graders to learn more about their interests and encourage them to join FFA when they get to high school.
So for our 8th grade meetings, today we're going to do a Who Are You FFA emblem coloring, where they're going to just fill in some personal details about them, and we're going to talk to them about our FFA chapter and what we do. And then on Thursday, we're going to do a brat tasting with them. And then, like Taylor said, we're taking coloring sheets to the grade schoolers so they can color, and maybe hopefully we'll get to read to them one day this week.
Yeah, we not only do 8th grade, I should say, we also do 6th grade and 7th grade.
Okay.
Right now, we've been working on a pig grant that we go over every Tuesday and Thursday that Emery kind of heads, so we're really excited about that.
The chapter recently received a $2,000 grant that allows them to go and teach younger students about pigs and the pork industry. Bunselmeyer explains the grant goes towards the teaching materials and activities for students.
So we got a $2,000 grant to just basically teach about pigs and inform about pigs. So what we signed up for was going and teaching these 8th and 7th graders about pigs and different facts. Each day we do a different activity, whether it's learning about different breeds of the pigs, whether it's learning about just different details of pigs. They have a lot of different activities that they do with them. Like this week we're doing our tasting with them, and so they're just learning different aspects of a pig and learning what they are. So the grant had to be based around pigs. It had to be $2,000 going towards using pigs in teaching material.
While reaching young students has always been a tradition for FFA Week in Maroa-Forsyth, Crouch notes it doesn't end after Friday. In March, they do a deep dive into into all that FFA has to offer with those students.
Yeah, it has. I remember being in middle school, and they used to come over. They used to do a whole day of it, actually, which we're looking forward to. We're actually going to do that in March. So because FFA Week is so busy, we were not able to squeeze it into this week.
Okay.
But we are looking forward to March. We're going to do a day over at the middle school school where we teach them all about some of the different things that we're involved in, whether that's a contest or a conference of some sort.
Keep up with everything Maroa-Forsyth FFA by visiting their Facebook page, and keep it to Regional Radio and WHOW and all its digital platforms for more on FFA Week here from your local chapters. Lincoln High School is celebrating FFA Week with assemblies all week long. On the WHOW Afternoon Farm Show Tuesday, Lincoln FFA chapter reporter Morgan Sheely told Regional Radio their FFA Week celebration consists of assemblies, a duck hunt, and hog calling.
We got a lot of people involved. We just had our first assembly today, and then the week's going to go on with hour-long assemblies here as we plan activities for our high school students to participate in. So Wednesday, so tomorrow, we have a big, more informal assembly where we just announce our sponsors and recognize all the people in our chapter and all their accomplishments throughout the year that we've been through. Thursday, we have a duck hunt that will hide rubber ducks around the school for students to go find. And then at the assembly early in the morning, they'll throw it and try to hit a target. And then Friday, we have hog calling, which we have people being involved in.
Sheely indicates the officers begin planning for FFA Week months in advance. This year, they teamed up with the student government to make sure everything is planned down to the finest detail.
Our officer team, we spend a good while, a couple months, planning week activities. We plan how we want to do things, and this year we paired with student government, so we had to talk to them throughout this process, and it's just taken a long time, a lot of planning, a lot of teamwork together to make sure things happen good. Well, not really. We have our 6 officers and then a few student government people every once in a while that come in. We work during school hours when we have a small advisory period, and then if we can't make enough time in that, we plan outside of school hours where we stay right after school and get to planning for however long it needs to be.
It's not from the perspective of the chapter president, Jasmine Leon. FFA Week is special this year because of the amount of activities they get to have. She explains the school administration let them change up the schedule for 2025.
So we have a ton of assemblies here. Usually we just have one around Wednesday or Thursday, but this year, thankfully our admin was kind enough to give us an assembly every day. So today was kind of taken over by student government. We kind of just introduced the dress-up days, but tomorrow I believe we will be performing opening and closing ceremonies for our officers. So great way to get those out, memorize, make sure that they're good to go. We'll have some creed presenters, so a chance for those freshmen to kind of exhibit the skills that they've been using. Mm-hmm. And we just have a lot of different things going on. Kiss the Land by the staff. Just interesting events going on all week. The FFA Creed is kind of just the goal, the symbol, the mission of our organization. Mm-hmm. And typically it's learned in Intro to Act, since there is a creed speaking competition where students can then present that creed, get asked questions about it, and then answer those questions. So some of the freshmen, the Green Hands that have been working hard this year to memorize that creed, will present this 5-paragraph long document.
It's not always easy to get non-FFA members involved in the celebrations. However, Sheely says it's not an issue in Lincoln. Leon explains FFA membership is also doing well with almost 100 members in the school this year.
We have a lot of people getting out there, especially for our hog calling contest. We were actually asked by our student body to have this during our FFA Week. So I feel like a lot of people are involved in the dress-up days and for activities we're planning. So I would say yeah.
We have almost 100 members. I think we're at around 97 or 98, so that's really good numbers. And we honestly have pretty good participation. I feel like usually a trend that's pretty common in our chapter is that we just have the same group of people, but I think that we've done a pretty good job this year at having different kinds of students go to different events and conferences and things like that. So it's been a really good year for us this year.
Check out the Lincoln FFA chapter's Facebook and Instagram pages to keep up with the latest, and you can see our live stream and replay of our week's interviews from FFA chapters on WHOW on Facebook and YouTube. Last week, Warrensburg-Latham students had an early dismissal, which allowed several agencies in central Illinois to converge on the small school for an emergency drill. On the WHOW Morning Show Tuesday, Cheryl Warner, superintendent of Warrensburg-Latham Schools, told Regional Radio they were able to do a reunification drill that day and estimated around 300 200 people participated.
We invited all Macon County related districts, partners, and agencies to be involved in this. My district had a pre-planned early dismissal that day, so we used this as a professional development activity for our staff. We had approximately 300 adults there, which would have included all Warrensburg-Latham staff, along with an additional about 90 to 100 volunteers from other agencies, school districts, law enforcement, over 50 law enforcement officers from all over. This was not by any means exclusive to Warrensburg. We had Decatur Police Department, we had the Park Districts, we had Macon County Sheriff's Department, Logan County. We had Illinois Emergency Management from throughout multiple counties as well, Macon, Logan, DeWitt, and also the Illinois EMA there to do a formal evaluation of us. So we attempted to basically take a crisis situation in school and planned for an evacuation and reunification at our reunification center, which for my school district is Life Foursquare Church, as well as for Maroa-Forsyth.
The event went on without students' involvement. Warner explains they wanted to focus on making sure their staff was able to execute their portion of the plans they had in place. She notes there were also a few wrinkles they added to the drill that were not expected.
So we did not have students involved in this activity because we felt it was very critical for my staff and all of the volunteers to have a very firm grasp of what this exercise looks like, be able to do a lot of problem solving based on the designated roles and process without putting any kind of concerns on students, because we were practicing a high crisis situation. And we also did practice for quite a few surprises to occur that the staff weren't aware of. And we just didn't really want that exposure to students at this point. Now, long-term goal would be that we do this exercise again with our staff, students, and parents that have volunteered to be part of this activity. But last week was really about delving high depth into the roles and the process and making sure everybody was comfortable. So we had taken that universal model of the standard reunification plan and put it into action at our reunification site with all of the various volunteers and staff. We did spend approximately 2 hours reunifying what we would consider about 60 student identities. Took lots of notes, did lots of problem solving. We had law enforcement there learning from the process as well as representatives from 9 other school districts.
Warner feels the drill was very enlightening in revealing parts of their plan that will need some improvement, but also in how the execution of an event that with that many people involved would play out.
So yes, and this is not the first time we've practiced this. I've had my staff out on this at this site multiple times. We've also done a small scale practice on campus. So by no means is it our first practice, but it would be our most critical and largest scale. We did walk away with, a handful of surprises of things that we did not anticipate. Some of them were technology related, not surprising to hear that kind of thing. Some of them were crowd control related. I'll give you one particular example. Our parents were not supposed to enter the church until the doors were unlocked, right? Now, in a true crisis situation, we know that parents are going to be, their goal is to get to their student as soon as they can, make sure their student is okay. Our doors were locked because our staff were still getting in position to run the reunification. Quickly, what we realized is that our parents were actually walking around, and remember, this was a snowy, icy day, to the other side of the church to try to attempt to get in other doors. That was a great test of my staff and the reunification site, because that would absolutely happen to us. Absolutely. So we were able to kind of think through some of those things and anticipate things that we hadn't necessarily planned for, as well as the crises that we did plan for, and be able to see how my staff handled those.
The planning for the event took a couple of years. Warner notes while it wasn't their first drill, they continue to keep a focus on school safety and making sure they're communicating with everyone that it would take to execute their plans in the event of an emergency in the school. A Central Illinois lawmaker believes Governor J.B. Pritzker is going to offer an unrealistic picture of the Illinois budget when he presents before a joint session of the Illinois General Assembly today. Representative Bill Hodder says Illinois faces a $2 billion shortfall and points out that that is by the data released by the governor's office. He is curious to hear how the Chicago Democrat is going to present that to Illinoisans.
Yeah, so
I expect a lot of crowing about how great they are. And if you can believe this, they think they're doing a great job. And we've heard things in the past, like other states look at Illinois to see how they can duplicate our success. So you see that we're battling untruth. We're battling not reality. And that's really hard to fight that because, again, it's their truth. They think they're doing a great job because, guys like Pritzker, Governor Pritzker have been his whole life. He's been told he does a great job. From every chauffeur to every nanny, he's been told that he's a good boy and that he's doing great. And so he doesn't know any different. I'm sure he has a lot of paid staff that tell him how great he's doing. Illinois is so great that he thinks he can be president of the United States, if you can believe that.
The Morton Republican says there are plenty of places to trim from the Illinois budget, but believes Democrats' priorities are misplaced in taking care of illegal people instead of residents of Illinois.
We're gonna hear a lot about how great they're doing and how great Illinois is. One of the things they love to bring up, Seth, is they've had 8 or 9, I forget, credit upgrades. And they just talk about all their credit upgrades, and Illinois is moving up. So what we've done is we've gone from last to still last. Okay, so we're still last, but we've had 8 credit upgrades, and they mention that part all the time. So we're going to hear a lot about that. But I can tell him right now where he can find $1 billion or more. We never know. Is one thing: immigrant health care, immigrant lodging, immigrant boarding, and safety, and even schooling. We have an opportunity now to follow the law. We have a new administration in Washington who's going to enforce the law for the first time in many years. And what are they doing? Instead of taking the opportunity to save Illinoisans a lot of money and follow the law, they're going to do the exact opposite of that. And that is extremely frustrating.
Representative Hodder is frustrated as well by the priorities Illinois Democrats take up with the money of taxpayers.
I just find it despicable that they would put criminals in front of Illinoisans, not even citizens of our country, not even citizens of our state. So Illinoisans go to the back of the line while we house, feed, and give really golden health care to non-citizens, and some of them criminals. It's one of the more frustrating things to me because it's so obvious, and to spend billions of Illinoisans' money and to see, I get complaints all the time in my office, help us with our Medicare bill or our Medicaid bill, help us with this program in Illinois. We need help for our foster children. So many things, but we're spending the money on people that aren't even Illinoisans. It's beyond the pale to me.
Governor Pritzker will address the joint session of the General Assembly today at noon. 26 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Wednesday. More to come on the morning show.
It's time to celebrate winter. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton and Farmer City. Yes, we have extra savings on all new Chevrolets this month to celebrate the winter season. See our inventory of Chevrolet Trailblazers, Blazers, and the all-new Chevy Trax. We also have a larger, redesigned 7-passenger Traverse and a good selection of 24 and 25 Tahoes. See our winter celebration savings at BaumChevyBuick.com. Right from the start.
27 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Wednesday. Digesting the latest USDA farm forecast income is Illinois Farm Bureau Economic and Policy Analyst Raylan Parmley, and says you have to factor in disaster and economic government assistance, but producers are still waiting for details on when and how funds will be distributed.
USDA is currently projecting a significant rebound in net farm income. And again, net farm income is farm income cash items, plus all of the non-cash items in like changes in inventory or depreciation, for example. So that rebound is looking at, an over $41 billion, 29.5% increase over 2024, following, 2 years of sharp declines. And you're absolutely right, Jim, a large portion of that increase is driven by some of those disaster and economic government assistance payments that were passed late last year. But really producers are still waiting on the details of that and how those funds will be distributed. So, even though the projection is currently a bit of a rebound, there's still a lot of uncertainty here heading into 2025.
Parmalee was a presenter at Tuesday's Illinois Farm Bureau Governmental Affairs Leadership Conference in Springfield. 28 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Wednesday. Time now for a look at this morning's obituaries. 84-year-old Margaret Sue Murphy of Clinton passed away February 11th at St. John's Hospital in Springfield. A massive Christian burial for 84-year-old Margaret Sue Murphy will be at 10:30 a.m. Thursday at St. John's Catholic Church in Clinton. Burial will follow at Woodlawn Cemetery in Clinton. The visitation is this evening from 5 to 7 p.m. at the funeral home with the rosary at 4:30. Memorials can be made to the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. 94-year-old Norman Eugene Leggett of Plainfield, formerly of Clinton, passed away February 12th. Services for 94-year-old Norman Eugene Leggett will be Saturday at 11 a.m. at Calvert Funeral Home in Clinton. Burial will follow at Woodlawn Cemetery in Clinton. Visitation is 10 to 11 Saturday at the funeral. Get news anytime from your computer or mobile device at DeWittDailyNews.com. Coverage of news brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick. We stream to Facebook and YouTube. Brought to you by Peterson Insurance. Network news, then local sports next.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason. The Trump war on waste, fraud, and abuse in government has arrived at the Department of Defense, with investigators at the Pentagon now asking for personnel records as they look to cut the Defense Department's huge payroll. If you don't think America could go bankrupt, Elon Musk says you might want to reconsider. Musk, assigned by President Trump to head up the Department of Government Efficiency, says bankruptcy is a very real threat if we don't rein in excessive government spending. The Senate has cleared the way for a confirmation vote on President Trump's nominee for FBI director. The vote on Kash Patel could come as soon as tomorrow. Meanwhile, another Trump cabinet nominee has won approval, the Senate confirming Howard Lutnick to serve as Commerce Secretary. On Wall Street this morning, the Dow futures down 89 points. More details at srnnews.com.
Time now for a look at sports. I'm Seth Lawrence with this report. In a game heard on WHOW and all its digital platforms, the Clinton Lady Maroons fell to Bloomington Central Catholic 69-59 in the semifinal round of the girls' Class 2A regional postseason Tuesday night in Bloomington. The Maroons were led by Serve Pro of Piatt DeWitt County's player of the game, Carly Anderson, who scored 25 points. 9 of those came from beyond the arc. Clara Dempsey had 15 points and was 5 of 6 at the free throw line, while Avery Smith chipped in with 8. The Saints were led by Kate Stolfa, who scored 16 points. Logan Shanks and Emmy Hury chipped in with 12. With the loss, the Lady Maroons end their season 25-8 overall. The Lady Saints go to 23-8 and advance to the regional championship game on Thursday. Tune in to our next Maroon sports broadcast when the Clinton boys basketball team takes on Argenta-Oreana on Friday night. Tip-off is 7:30 and can be heard on WHOW and all its digital platforms. In a game heard on WEZC and online at DeWittDailyNews.com, Tyler Blythe scored 10 of his 14 points in the fourth quarter. Gatsby Grant scored all 11 of his points in the second half. And Matthias Rudolph provided an early spark en route to a game-high 15 points as Monticello toppled Tolono Unity 59-44 in Illini Prairie Conference High School boys basketball action Tuesday at the Rocket Center in Tolono. The Sages fell behind 5-2 early, and Rudolph came off the bench and scored 8 straight points to put Monticello up 10-7. The score was tied at 12 after one quarter. The Sages would lead 26-24 at the half. Grant found his groove in the third quarter, scoring 8 of his 11 in the frame, helping Monticello pull out in front 41-36 by the end of the third, aided by a brilliant pass from Tyler Blythe to set up a reverse layup and a kick out to Grant on a drive through the paint for an open three at the top of the key. Blythe took over in the fourth quarter, hitting a pair of threes and knifed through the paint for a tough layup late that helped keep any hopes of a Unity comeback out of reach. Blythe's fourth quarter performance stood out in a crowded field for the Serve Pro of Piatt-DeWitt County's player of the game. Unity was led by Dane Eisenmanger's 11 points, and Mason O'Neill had 10. Unity falls to 22-8 overall and suffered its first loss in the Illini Prairie to go to 8-1 in the conference. Monticello goes to 16-12 overall and finishes 5-4 in the Illini Prairie. Like last year's upset win in the final week of the regular season, the Rockets and Sages could match up again in the regional as they both head to Westville next week for regional play. Monticello wraps up the regular season at home Friday night, hosting second-ranked Bismarck-Henning at the Seaver Center. Game time is 7 p.m. Hear the action on 95.9 FM WEZC and online at DeWittDailyNews.com. 4 players scored in double figures, and Maroa-Forsyth rolled to a 61-47 win over Riverton in Sangamo Conference High School boys basketball action Tuesday night in Maroa. Brady Doss scored 13 of his 18 points in a huge third quarter for the Trojans, while Cabron Lee had 17 points. The Trojans blew the game open with a 29-point outburst in the third. Mitch Williams had 14 points, and Kenny Morris added 10 for Maroa-Forsyth. The Trojans are 12-13 overall and 3-5 in the Sangamo. They will host Rochester tonight in a makeup game of an earlier postponement because of weather. Isaac Price scored a career-best 37 points and led Blue Ridge to a 79-76 win over Tri-County in Lincoln Prairie Conference High School boys basketball action Tuesday night in Kansas. The Knights survived late despite shooting just 16 of 30 at the foul line. Wesley Clark had 15 points for Blue Ridge, while Landon Slade had 11. Blue Ridge goes to 10-16 overall and 3-7 in the Lincoln Prairie Conference. They travel to Donovan Thursday night to wrap up the regular season. Carter Logue had a game-high 22 points, and Argenta-Oreana used a big third quarter to get by Cerro Gordo Be-Mint 67-50 in Lincoln Prairie Conference High School boys basketball action Tuesday night in Cerro Gordo. The Bombers led 23-22 at the half and came out and scored 29 points in the third quarter to break the game open. Damian Good had 16 for Argenta-Oreana. Tyson Oros chipped in with 10, and MJ Hall added 9 points. The Broncos were led by Will Fusen, who scored 15. CGB drops to 11-19 overall and 4-7 in the Lincoln Prairie Conference. Argenta-Oreana is 15-12 overall and 8-2 in the Lincoln Prairie Conference. They are home Thursday night hosting Arcola. Class 2A girls regional basketball semifinal action Tuesday night from the Bloomington Central Catholic Regional. Tremont downed Tri-Valley 60-51. From the Meridian Regional, Paris downed Arthur Lovington Atwood Hammond 64-19, and Monticello toppled the regional host 38-35. Class 3A regional semifinal action from Tuesday. From Danville, Danville beat Champaign Central 46-34, and Decatur MacArthur beat Decatur Eisenhower 60-28. Meanwhile, Mount Zion was winners over Champaign Centennial 77-21. From the Peoria Regional, Morton beat East Peoria 68-34, and Lincoln edged out Limestone 49-47. From the Peoria Richwoods Regional, Dunlap down the regional hosts 63-53. John Tanji had 31 points, and 11th-ranked Wisconsin beat Illinois 95-74 Tuesday night to earn its 5th straight victory and end a recent run of futility in the series. Wisconsin had lost its last 9 matchups with the Fighting Illini, including an 86-80 loss December 10th at Illinois. Wisconsin had won 15 straight meetings before that. Tanji's big performance came 3 nights after he had 32 points in a 94-84 win at Purdue, which was ranked 7th at the time. He's the 4th player in school history to score at least 30 points in consecutive games. Wisconsin's Steve Crowell added a season-high 20 to go with 7 boards and 5 assists. John Blackwell had 16 points. Dre Gibbs Longhorn had 17 points. Ben Hummerkaus and Will Riley Ben Hummerkaus had 13 and Will Riley 11 for the 17-10 Illini, who are 9-8 in the Big Ten. The Illini did not have second leading rebounder Morez Johnson Jr., who's out with a broken wrist, and Tomislav Ivisic, Illinois' leading rebounder and second leading scorer, had just 7 points and 3 boards while playing through an illness. Blackwell made 3 straight baskets to turn a 13-all tie to a 19-13 Badgers lead, and Wisconsin stayed ahead the rest of the way. They had a 39-30 rebounding edge. Illinois came in with a plus 9.7 rebounding margin that ranked second among all Division I teams, only behind Milwaukee. Illinois out-rebounded Wisconsin 40-29 on December the 10th. Illinois faces third-ranked Duke on Saturday in New York. Get sports anytime from your computer or mobile device at DeWittDailyNews.com.
This is staff meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with your regional radio forecast. Slight chance of snow today, otherwise cloudy skies expected. High temperatures reach up to 15. Northerly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies tonight, slight chance for snow, lows level off around 1 above. Tomorrow, highs level off around 18. Hear weather twice an hour or online anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com. Right now, 9 above.
From the Country Financial Studio, I'm Rita Frazier. This is the RFD Livestock Report. Well, a focus on the Illinois beef industry and the Beef Association with Beef Expo coming up in Springfield at the State Fairgrounds. We talked just recently while they were at the National Cattlemen's Beef Association in San Antonio, leadership for IBA, including Vice President Shannon Welsh. Shannon is a beef producer from McDonough County, and when you're in leadership, you're committed to the association and have to leave the farm, and you have to have somebody to help. So we talked with Shannon about his help at home and about the industry.
It takes a lot from my family, mostly my son and daughter. They step up, and we are calving currently, so my son does most of that. I have one daughter that lives at home still, but going to Western Illinois University, so work and going to school, she helps with that, helps chore, fill in wherever she's needed to. It's a team effort for sure.
Your cow-calf operation there, did you go to San Antonio with a few questions of your own? And, what are you interested in as far as issues, topics?
I don't know there's really a personal agenda on topic side, more just for the IBA and filling in what's best for the Illinois producer all across the board.
Yeah, you mentioned ag food policy. Lots of talk about that for not just for cattle men and women, but of course for the whole ag industry. So you were in some meetings that address those types of issues?
Addressing more of the fake meat, you try to make it so they can't use the word beef or pork and take that off what beef or any real meat has done for their own programs, that the fake meat can't use use their name and ride that coattail.
When you guys get home from San Antonio, Illinois Beef Expo, huge event for the association, for the industry. Tell us what this year's event is shaping up to look like.
We're really excited about it. We kick off with the performance-tested bull sale on Thursday, and then Friday we have a genetics lot sale and an all-breeds female sale. And then there's some association banquets. I know Simmental's is Friday night. The shows start actually on Friday, continue Saturday through Sunday with steers and heifers.
Many years, I'm sure, that you guys have been there in Springfield. Why is Expo so special? I mean, you guys do a lot of shows, and a lot of people do a lot of other shows, but why is the Illinois Beef Expo so special?
It is a great event, and everybody, it's your home state. The competition is phenomenal. It's as tough as any national show, really, that you go to. It's close to home, and there's a lot of pride in that. Your home state and